Welcome to Costly Conversations. My name is Aaron, and I'm excited because today we have a very special guest. She goes by Sky or Concealed by Sky on Instagram. And I'm just going to set it up like this. Imagine you're going to a university, let's say it's conservative, let's say it's Christian, and back in 2011, they passed campus concealed carry or campus carry is what you would call it, permitting students, faculty, teachers, employees, whoever on campus to concealed carry, provided you have all the right paperwork and such. You know, they're not gonna fuss about it. Now imagine, you're just applying for jobs, doing your thing, and randomly you get called in and questioned for having a gun in your dorm. I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because that's a true story about Sky. This actually happened to her, and I want to know all the juicy details. What the heck happened? Why was there an interrogation? Why was she potentially on the chopping block for expulsion? All of that. Why? So let's go ahead and dive into it. Before we get started, just want to remind everyone, if you love this show, if you want to support it, if you appreciate the conversations, make sure you're following us on social media, all that. But more than that, follow us over on Locals, armedatlas.com. armedatlas.locals.com, because we do an extended cut of the show over there. In addition to that, we also have the Firearms content that I do. We get some bonus content over there. It's a good time, and it supports the show. It's only $5. So thank you very much. And let's go ahead and dive into the show. Let's go. Hey, Sky, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So if you were listening to that introduction, I want to know, and I think people want to know. I mean, we've got a couple people here live with us right now, waiting on the answers. So let's dive into it. First of all, when did you start concealed carrying? We'll just start with that. Or
So,
when did you become a gun owner, rather?
so I got my concealed carry permit at 19. I am 22 now, so a few years ago.
Okay.
So I'm from Delaware, so I was able to get it at 18, which was really nice. I couldn't buy a gun yet, but I was able to have one gifted to me.
Nice.
Um, and so yeah, and then when I did my first year of college online, and then I decided to switch in person. And one of the reasons why I picked Liberty to go in person at was because of the fact that they allowed me to conceal carry. And that's something that's like safety has always been like a big part of my life. Like I've always been very self-conscious about stuff like that. And moving 5 hours away from family and everything like that by myself is, obviously scary and new places. Um, so yeah, I looked into it and found out that I was able to get my Liberty concealed permit, um, because Virginia recognizes Delaware's permits. So I went through that whole process to get that, which was actually really easy. Because I already had my permit, I just had to submit the paperwork and they sent me my um, Liberty concealed carry card.
Nice. Okay, so
Um,
there's a specific card for carrying on campus.
Yes. So it's just like your student ID, but like the same picture, same information really, but just that you can conceal. So, yep.
Okay, so just to be clear, you were attending Liberty University. Go Flames. I attended at one point
Yeah.
in time, and I have no problem with the university. That said, you were under the impression that you can carry on campus, no big deal. Um, and I do want to circle back and ask, like, who got you into firearms? Because getting a gun at 18, or even not even just like getting a gun at 18, but getting a permit to carry at 18, that's a big step. It's one thing that, oh, someone just gave you a gun. Oh, okay. It's a little strange, but cool. But
Yeah.
getting, going through the steps, all that, we gotta talk about that in just 1 minute. So you attended the Liberty University and
Yes.
What happened or what transpired that kind of caught you off guard and was leading to a potential expulsion?
So I will say there was kind of a lot. Like, not, I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but so basically like the root of it and the reason for the drama, if you will, was because of some of my videos I had posted of me dry firing in the dorm, and that's or practicing my draw too, and that's what was not allowed. Um,
Well,
because I did
let me
sign a
pause you right there.
contract.
Let me pause you right there. Why were
Hmm.
these videos discovered, and who confronted you about the videos?
So so that's one thing that everybody always, that was the first question everyone asked, was like, ooh, who snitched?
Who snitched?
Um, yeah, but all of my, so I lived on a hall, and so all of
Mhm.
my, I had friends who knew about the account. I had my RAs were aware of the account. Nobody said anything. But when I applied for a security guard position, um, of course, with any kind of job like that, they're going to go through all of your social media, all of your, do a background check, all of these things. So I had made it through like 2 rounds of like the interview phases and stuff, and was on track to get this job. And then they found these videos. And then I got a phone call and they were like, hey, do you have time to come in and chat with us? And I thought I was going in there for good news. And then they were like, okay, we just need to talk to you about a couple things. And then two officers basically sat me down and they were like, so, because I'd made them very aware of the gun account and I told them that like, this
S-
is what I
So,
do.
police officers or like security officers, like officers of the state,
So
like who interrogated
it
you?
was, it was Liberty. So
Okay,
it
so
was like
Liberty's officers.
my kind of like a private detective, if you will, like one of their like people that like do this for a living. Like, so it was two of them, and they basically sat me down and they were like, "We found some things that were concerning on your page," and I was like, "Okay," like, but I mean, they were very kind of back and forth. So they said what I did was wrong and a very blatant, like, against Liberty's policy for firearms
To have a
because
firearm in your dorm.
so you're allowed to have it in the dorm, but it has to be on your person or in the safe, which the safe was another thing that I had to pay an extra $50 for a semester. But they require you to have it.
Wait, you have to
So
have their safe, not a safe, but you have to
yes,
rent a safe.
yes,
Wow.
and you have to go pick it up. And so then, thank goodness I had a friend nearby who could drive me from LUPD back to my dorm room. Otherwise, I would have had to get on the bus with this big, heavy safe, and then
Wow.
everyone would know that I have a gun
Right.
because that's what they're for. And then I had to have not security, maintenance come and install it like in the floor.
Okay,
Like,
so it had to be bolted in, which,
yes.
hey, I'm all for security measures and people being smart and
Hmm.
making sure that we're not, playing fast and loose with things that they
Yeah.
don't know your level of experience, but saying like, hey, you got to rent our safe, you got to have somebody install it, all that. It just seems kind of like a lot.
It is. And the other option, if I didn't want to purchase the safe, was to keep it in my car. That was like what they said in the paperwork I filled out, and I was like, I'm not leaving my gun in my car.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, those are two extremely different things. Hey, you can bolt it
yeah.
down in the floor, and which
Hmm.
is that's good. Except that's definitely
Yeah.
not a quick access safe. Okay,
Yeah, no. I
or
made a
have it in your
video about
car.
that, about me like diving to the floor to get my gun out of my safe. And that was one of the ones they had flagged. And I was like, the gun's in a holster. Like that's why I have to get it out of the safe. Like, but yeah. So back to the interrogation questioning, if you will. Um, both of these officers were like, um, constantly saying how impressed they were by me and how, they watched every single video, and in none of my videos is my finger on the trigger or anything like that, anything that would indicate me being just stupid with a firearm. So they were like, we're really impressed. Like, we really love what you're promoting. Keep it up, but also you can't draw your firearm, even if it's unloaded. Even if, because I mean, I went through the list and I was like, my door was locked, my finger's not on the trigger, the gun is empty, the magazine's empty, like all of these things. I would never do anything unsafe. Um, and they were like, yeah, we really respect that. Sorry, guys. Um, they said they really respected that, but it still was a violation of not having the firearm on me or in the safe, which, in
Okay,
my
so
opinion,
they got you on some sort of weird tech because they could and they were bored. It sounds like, and I don't know these guys. I'm sure they're nice people, have
yeah,
wonderful families. You know, the works were raised right, all the stupid stuff, right? But that just sounds dumb. Like, come on, Ellie, you do
yeah,
better. Like y'all are really
no,
ruffling this girl's feathers, even though she's demonstrated she knows exactly what she's doing. And you said you need to have it on you, and having it on you is having it on you or in the safe.
and
Okay, it's in the safe.
yes,
Now it's on me. I'm not leaving it on the floor. Or did you?
hmm
I know you said you had to dive, but you were diving to the safe, right? In that
yeah,
video,
because
walk me through that video. What all did they freak out
so
about?
so that video, I can't remember what it was, and I think part of it was probably because I was making fun of it. But that was just,
Oh, they got a little booty hurt. Come on,
yeah,
guys, do
yeah,
better.
no, there was a few of the videos. I was like, I don't even know. Like I said, there was a lot, and they kept going back and forth because they were like, you knew better, you should have known better. But then they also were like, your videos like challenged us, like we don't practice that much. And I was like, I'm sorry, you don't practice? Like, uh, so there was definitely
That's
a
some
lot with
scary stuff. I hate it
them.
when people and I want people to be realistic and real about. Sorry, guys, could y'all in the live audience let me know if the audio is okay? Because I'm seeing that it might be coming in a little bit hot, and I apologize if it is the case. Let me know if it's coming in maybe a little bit too hot. But you're saying that they admitted to your face, like, hey, listen, we handle guns all the time, and we think that you're just doing the most. Like you're great. We
Yeah.
want to be just like you, but you're about to get in trouble,
Mhm.
Missy. Stop
Yes.
being so good
Yeah.
with the gun stuff. I'm
Yeah.
making
And
light,
then
but that's horrifying.
no, and what I think was the most frustrating was I had asked, I was like, okay, because they were like, this is gonna go right from here. Because I mean, obviously they have the whole thing recorded, the whole audio of me telling them, and I expressed my concerns. I was like, I'm concerned that you guys say you don't practice enough, and also like I'm promoting people practicing because I know just how not good it's going to be if something does happen on campus and all of these students who conceal don't know how to draw a firearm, don't know how to pick out who the target is. Um, and so they agreed with that. And they also told me that if I wanted to dry fire, that I should go to the Liberty Range. And because I did not have a job at the time, I did not have money for ammo. So my parents bought me a laser training kit. And so I would use that. And so I told them all of this, but they were like, you still can't do that in the dorm. And wanted me to go at a range and dry fire because I couldn't afford bullets. And
I'm appalled. First,
yeah,
first of all, like what is wrong with these people? And I
yeah,
would understand if the video showed you doing something dangerous, or if they said, "Hey, listen,
mhm,
according to what we're seeing in the video, you're orienting firearm through the window, and the window leads to another. Depending on what dorm you stayed on. I stayed on the
Hmm.
annex back in the Gap. Um, but that my gosh, like that pisses me off. And we got
Yeah.
our guy, Rock with the Glock. He's um, if I could put him in the broadcast, that'd be great. But he just said that's crazy work. Yes, absolutely. That's nutty. Are you serious? They were like, hey,
Yes.
listen, you got to go to the range to dry fire. Not, hey, come to
And
the range. We'll make sure you're hooked
mhm.
up. Hey, just come for this semester. We know, money's a little tight. We'll make sure you got a pass. But no, like, hey, we need you to go to the range just to dry fire. You
Yeah.
know.
And then
Now, was
I'm
is the
pretty sure
Liberty
I laughed
range?
at
Is
some of
that
them.
is that free for students, or am I? Or does it have a
I
fee? Do you remember?
honestly, I have not been there because I've heard some negative things about it. Because I mean, it's
Yeah,
you know. So plus, like I said, I have a whole laser training kit that I use most of the time. So if I'm going to go
fair.
to a range, I'm not going to go to Liberty's range.
Yeah, hey, like he said,
um,
I'm not going to your range. Just letting you know.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, I've heard so many mixed things, and like my thing is, if you're going to offer students, you should give them more spaces in which to like practice. And because I talked to somebody who was like, yeah, I have to clean my gun in my car in a parking lot because I can't do it in my dorm room. And I was like, that's no, no, thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
and part of me understands like, hey, listen, there's a lot of students. Some are not comfortable around guns. Many will be.
yes,
If you are, and you got to kind of sometimes play things for the lowest common denom. Like, okay, for that student who has a gun, who's gone through the trouble of getting the campus concealed carry, whatever, unless there's some sort of proficiency test that says like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they're just a gold standard of firearms ownership. Did your test or the to get your permit? Did you have to do anything special, or did you just show up and say like, "Hey, clean record. Let me
no,
carry a gun on campus"?
for liberties because Virginia recognized Delaware, I didn't have to do anything. So I just sent my paperwork and they gave me the card. Um, so and that's the thing too. Like I know they have gun classes and stuff like that. That I know people who have taken those. Um, but yeah, as far as like the concealed carry students, I just wish we were doing more to, like convocation is one of the biggest
Yeah,
events that we have twice a week. And for me, I think that's one of the biggest targets because everyone has to be there. Um, and I told when I was in there getting questioned, I told them, I said, that's going to be a bloodbath if all of these kids don't know how to figure out who's the one actually doing the harm here. And that there's nobody ever tells you, like, okay, in case of emergency, this is what should happen, and stuff like that. And so, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that can be worked on. Um, because, yeah, like the security to get into these events is they do have high security, which is nice. But for students who conceal, it can be a nightmare. Like if you get the wrong security guard or the other security, the Rhino security, I've gotten
what is Rhino
I have
security?
countless stories. So that's so they're not like the security guards. They're just like an outside security um like group that comes in. So they're basically just like volunteers who kind of just run things, keep everybody moving through the metal detectors and stuff. And so when you come through as a concealed carry person, you have to show like all of your IDs. So I would have to tell them this before I walk through the metal detector. And sometimes they didn't listen. They would just push me through and then get mad at me when the alarm goes off. And I had to explain to them, like, I tried to tell you, because you have to show your card and then they call over a police officer or a security guard to then check all of your IDs. So they need your LU concealed carry permit, your state concealed carry permit, your driver's license, and your student ID. So you have to have all of these out and ready to go, just to get through security. And and then you have to, the line stops and everybody's staring at you, and it can be a mess if you don't have the right security guards. So I learned early on to stick to the one gate, and I had one of the Rhino security guards that I made friends with, and one of the security officers I made friends with. So they would see me coming and they would be ready. But there were so many people I talked to said they don't even carry to these events because of just how confusing and stressful everything is just to get through security. And
Okay, so let me just, you know, clarify some points. Convocation, that's when a guest speaker or the dean or president or whoever wants, I guess there's like a worship session and then, or some sort of musical
mhm,
thing. And then they bring
yeah,
out the guest, whether it's a politician or some guy who wrote a book, and then everybody gets the same, how do you say, download of like, hey, this motivational speaker, you know, Tony Robbins is here, guys.
yes.
Donald J. Trump came to the building. I was there when, you know, he popped in for graduation. That was interesting. And then, so, but how many students go to Convo? I can't even remember. But
I
it's a
mean,
lot. It's
if
like a
you
whole
live on
fishbowl.
campus, yeah, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
You have to be there.
Yeah.
Um,
So like every single
so,
student on campus is there.
mhm,
And when I was there, it was over 10,000 students. I think it was going on like 15. I don't know how many
yeah,
students are there now.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
So there's so many people. So I'd always get there early, and like I said, I made sure I went to the same gate, so I saw the same person. Um, and so they kind of knew how to deal with me. But in the beginning, I had multiple different like officers, because when I got my permit, I asked them like, how do I get into these events? And they said, oh, just show your card, like it'll be fine. But that's not that's not really great advice, because they need more than just that card. They need all of your licenses basically. Um, like I said, I think it's like four in total that they need. You have to have like out and ready to go. Because again, like other students are trying to go through the line and everything like that. So it's
That's
definitely,
just nutty. I'm like still kind of so annoyed at that. That not
yeah,
only do they make it hard for you in the dorm, but moving through to one of the most mandatory thing. I mean, if you live in the dorms, probably, you know,
yeah,
you got to go to convocation, and they don't really have
hmm,
a system. Although campus carry has been active on that specific campus since 2011. That's
yeah,
ooh over 10
hmm,
years. Yeah, 12, 13, almost 14 years, almost,
yeah,
since, and they haven't quite figured it out on how to ensure that, hey, some of our students and faculty staff, they're going to be concealed carrying. We're encouraging that. We have a system in place, but you can't move through security. You got to pay extra to rent their safe, which I understand. Like you can't just
hmm,
give away a bunch of safes, but you can't just have somebody come approve the safe that you have and be like, all right, we bolted in this way. This safe is
yeah,
approved. Um,
hmm,
that should be a system. I'm not here to critique every little thing
yeah,
LU did wrong, but it's quite annoying. Quite annoying.
yeah,
Either way, let's kind of double back to the punishment. The
hmm,
punishment.
yeah,
Dun dun dun.
yeah.
What happened to little old Sky after you basically embarrassed those guys a little bit and be like, "Hey, why don't you guys train? Like, what did they have you do? Did they kick you out of school? Did you
Yeah.
get suspended? Did you get expelled? Like, what
So
happened?"
So my immediate like question to them was, is this gonna affect the job I was applying for? Because this security guard position would have paid very well. It would have helped pay for school. I was very excited. This is kind of the area I'm looking to go into. Um, so I had asked, I was like, is this gonna affect any of that? Like, how does that look going forward? Because that was honestly more of my main focus in the moment. And they were like, yeah, we're not sure. It's just gonna go from here up to, the people above us, and then they'll go from there. And it was probably less than an hour after I left there that I got the email saying that, like, sorry, but you're kicked out of the running for the position that you applied for. And
Wow.
so that was kind of a punch in the gut because I was like, you guys probably knew that was going to happen and you couldn't say anything um, to kind of warn me about it because I, you know, when I went in for my interview for that job, I had four of the top like security and police chief and all of these very important people tell me how great I would be for the job. And one of them even said, like, off the record, like, just me to you, I think you would make a great police officer for us one day. Um, and like all of these like great things. And so then to like just kind of get that because I was very safely handling a firearm in my room, was kind of tough.
Yeah. I
But
mean, that's so disturbing.
yeah,
Um,
and then that was the last I heard from them.
yeah.
They sent it off to one of the other like um, I forget what it's called, but basically the people who deal with the punishment stuff. Um, so then I got a call from the girl who was going to be representing me in my case to figure out what they were going to do with me. So she talked to me, got my side of the story and everything. Um, and then she was like, I'm going to be real with you. Like, you're looking at three different options here. Um, you could have to pay a fine. You could have to do, it's called pathways. I'll get into that in a minute. Or they could expel you because it would be like 30 points. Um, because Liberty has like a point system and 30 points is a lot of points. So that's when and I had never done anything wrong before, so I didn't have any points.
So you're
Um,
pretty much a model student. What walk me through? What does a
yeah,
model student like
yeah,
Sky do? Are you going to Bible studies? Are you attending all the dorm meetings? Like are you
yeah.
are you doing all the
I
things?
never
Like what?
missed curfew. I always, signed out when I was supposed to if I wasn't going to be there for curfew.
Hmm.
You know, did all of the things. Both of my RAs um, knew me, and like I said, they were aware of the account too. Like I wasn't trying to like, ooh, I'm gonna hide this. Nobody's gonna know about it.
Right. Have a
Because
secret gunslinger account.
yeah,
I'm over here
yeah. So
doing drugs.
multiple people on my hall knew about it because I would promote T4 Tactics is he's located here in Lynchburg, and I've worked with him a couple times, and he would host these events. And there was one time or a couple times, he would tell me to like, oh, like see if you can bring out, some of the girls on your hall for a situational awareness class. So all the girls in my hall knew me as the one who was out here promoting safety and trying to get them, you
Right.
know,
The gun
to
girl.
carry. Yeah, yeah. So,
Fair.
like I said, it wasn't a secret. I wasn't trying to keep anything hidden. Um, like I said, a lot of people from my dorm hall followed my account. But yeah, so then I ended up. It was quite a long process, like going through. I had to talk with this lady who was representing me multiple times
Was she
as
like a
they were
lawyer?
going
Like
through.
you said, representing you.
No, I don't remember like whatness. I called her my probation officer, but that's not what she's called.
Yeah. Speaking of
Because I had
lawyers,
to.
we actually had a commenter, Raheem Kelly, say, "That's crazy. Sounds like a lawsuit to me. Easily discrimination. I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. I might look at it after I graduate because or
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will say, like my fiance, he, like I said, he's going to school to be a lawyer. But he was very involved in student government. And so if it had gotten to the point where they were going to expel me, he said that he had some people he could call to help figure that out.
Okay, a guy who knows a
Um,
guy. It's always good to know that
yes,
guy.
yes.
Fair.
Because, he obviously wasn't very happy with the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big
But
deal.
yeah,
First, you're missing out on a job that people say you're easily qualified, overqualified for as a
hmm
student. And they're all like, hey, beyond security work, like you should be a cop, which, people have their opinions on cops, but, is what it is.
yes, yeah,
And so you're missing out on a job opportunity. Lynchburg is a right to work state. So if they want to hire you, cool. If they don't, cool. If they want to fire you, cool. It's like one of those things where it's not even a state,
yeah,
it's Commonwealth of Virginia, excuse me. And or at least
hmm
they don't call themselves a state. And
yeah,
it just kind of sucks because beyond the money you're missing out on, they're like, hey, listen, all this time and energy you put into this university, we don't care. We could potentially let you go. Thankfully, it sounds like it didn't come
mhm,
to that. What did you end up having to
yeah.
do?
So, I ended up having to do, they call it pathways. So it's basically, I had to sit down, um, with this lady and pick out, I think it was like five. So it was like a couple essays, a couple, like, I had to do a personality quiz or something and then write about it. I had to do, like, just, honestly, it was just busy work stuff. Um, it's, in my opinion, the equivalent of like if you get in trouble when you're little and you have to write like I'm sorry so many times. Like that's basically what this was because it
That's
was
exactly
thousand
what
word
crossed my
essays.
mind. I'm like, okay, so
hmm
you went up to the chalkboard and you write,
Yeah,
I will not care. I will not dry fire in the dorm anymore. I'm sorry.
yeah.
And you just
That's
start doing the eyes and you start linking all the eyes
hmm
because you're so sick of writing I. I used to do
yeah.
that, as you can
So
tell.
and one of the other things too that I forgot to mention was they one of the other reasons why I was very mad about everything is because they labeled it weapons misconduct. And
So, did you pull a
for
knife out in class? Like, what'd you do?
that's yeah, I know that's what you would think. And so well, at first when she told me on the phone, like, okay, so this is what you're being like, this is what you're in trouble for. I was like, why are we calling it that? Like, it wasn't to that severity, in my opinion. But yeah, so I had to do these pathways. And so once it was, I had like a deadline. And so by this time, like school is already starting. So I've got my classwork plus these thousand-word essays that are just nonsense, basically. And I did write in there some of my own opinions, but I don't know if they actually read them or not. But I told them in one of them that I don't agree with this, that I think it's dumb, and they need to improve on some things. Like I said, whether or not they actually read them, I don't know. But it was, yeah. So,
So here's my thing. Um, somebody said that's really crazy. Someone said that sounds childish. To me, all of the above. That's sad. And here's the thing: if it was anybody else, a different situation, like okay, this person was Mexican style carrying, which is like carrying a gun without a holster in your hip. It was exposed, and he was in the cafeteria, or
mhm,
you had an ND or something like that in the dorm, or the gun fell out in class, and you nearly shot somebody, or something like that, where it's like, hey, listen, like
yeah,
this is we're trusting you, and if you're having these kinds of flubs, it's more a sign of negligence than it is
hmm
a mistake. So we need to talk, and this is a big deal because we're trying to keep our campus, clean of these kinds of issues. But you
yeah,
literally didn't have any of those issues. What was there ammunition in your gun when you were dry firing? Like, what is it that they had a real problem with?
yeah. And that's the thing. And the way they put it was because I was posting about it, and so they were like, you may be fine. You may know that the gun's empty. You may know how to properly handle it. But if somebody watches your videos and wants to be just like you and they're not maybe smart enough to unload the gun, then we could have an issue. And so they were like, for those people, basically. And, but again, they
So you're
applauded that my
taking an
finger was,
L for people who may not have the common sense, even though they permitted them to have guns in the dorm, because no
hmm
one has a gun at LU unless LU's approved it, supposedly, right? Supposedly.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
I'm not saying say names, but hmm.
yeah. hmm
Really quick, guys, I just want to let everybody know in the live audience, and of course those on the podcast side, if you guys have questions, fire them in. And if you see that there's an upcoming guest, there is a link for SpeakPipe. I don't know if we got a chance to talk about that yet. We didn't get any questions in for this guest, but we definitely, if you guys, I'll try to put that in the future live streams. Like before it goes live, you can go in and like click in and make sure to leave a voicemail, like question, comment, things like that for people like Sky or next guest and so on and so forth, because you guys make the show great. We just want to let you guys know. Fire those questions now into the comment section, and next time make sure you tune in a little bit early to see if you have the option to record a question to be played on the show if it's appropriate. All right, back to the show. Sky, we were talking about, okay, so they're concerned that there might be a dummy who doesn't understand guns. And I made the joke like, hey, nobody on campus has guns unless they're supposed to, because clearly people do what they're supposed to do. In fact, they wouldn't have known about you unless you were actively pursuing a role in safety.
Yeah,
Like you could have got
yeah.
away scot free. In fact, if you didn't
I
tell
know.
LU that you had the gun, you would have been saving a ton more money, and then you'd probably be expelled, truthfully. But you know,
Yeah.
is there any silver lining to this?
I don't know. So,
Are you
yeah,
are
the
you are
whole
you
thing,
still
like I
mad
said,
at the university? Were you ever mad? Because you seem like a super positive
yeah,
person.
yeah, and I will say it was very, very frustrating. Definitely some negative emotions there. And
Yeah.
it is hard because it's like, this was or is, like my dream school. I always wanted to go here, and then to just kind of be treated like that was just kind of because again, this was first offense. I'd never done
Hmm.
anything wrong, nothing bad. And then to be kind of hit with 30 points
Treated
and
like a
on the
criminal,
verge of,
like a criminal.
yeah,
Listen. When I went to
yeah,
LU, I had a roommate who was accused of SA. Um, like it was the weirdest thing. Like his girlfriend broke up with him, and then he was hanging out with another girl, and then there was the accusations, and then there's accusations that it was consensual,
hmm
and she just didn't want to get caught up. And then there was accusations that it wasn't. He went to jail for a week. A week. He came back skinny as a stick. I don't know how you like, bro. Like the weight loss plan, he lost so much weight. Came
yeah, oh
back,
my gosh.
was known, at least by his parents, but by some others, like, hey, listen, he might act like he's in pain sometimes because he wants to go to the hospital to get drugs, things like that. But he continued on at the school for a bit. Like, eventually, he did move on. I think they forced him to move on. But we have accusations of like some serious stuff, and he's still allowed. He slept in the dorm when he got back from jail. But
Yeah,
for you, safely and responsibly
yeah,
handling a firearm, and I'm not trying to say
hmm
every man accused of these things are guilty, because clearly not, right?
hmm
But we have
yeah,
a much more serious situation. But for you, safely and responsibly, broadcasting that you are doing these things. Oh well, somebody who's an idiot might try it, and then that's a bit. Guys, why don't you create a program where you teach people how to safely handle firearms? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, and that was the thing too. And like I said, in the recording, that they have, I said, I was like, look, at that time, I didn't have a roommate. So I wasn't worried about somebody walking in. Because, if somebody were to walk in, because they had made that comment, they were like, well, what if somebody walks in the room and sees you as you're practicing? And I'm like, and then, oh, and then they get scared. And I was like, well, I didn't have a roommate for one. And for two, my
Lucky
door was
you.
always locked. it was only for a short period of time, but only for that semester, really. But
I'm about to say because
um,
I I didn't have a roommate after my roommate got removed from LU for accusations of sexual assault. You know,
yeah,
light stuff, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
But yeah, so that was a period of time where I didn't have a roommate. So,
yeah.
and I told them this, and I was like, again, the door is locked.
Hmm.
I told them, I was like, anytime I film a video, nobody's in the room. Nobody's going to come in the room because I get embarrassed. So I'm like, door's locked. Like, you don't have to, you don't have to worry about that. But then again, they still just circled back to, well, if you're posting them, you're promoting that. And we don't want other people to just think they can do that. And they were like, and you
It
signed the
sounds like they
contracts.
went through a lot of trouble, and so they were just like, we got to get some. We got to get.
Yeah.
Some. I'm leaving with something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
sad.
again, they would turn around and be like, but and applaud me and say that they loved the account. They loved that I was promoting, especially for women, and they thought it was crazy that I'm, a girl promoting this stuff and showing my outfits, and you know, they were very impressed by some of my ways that I conceal and like in dresses and stuff and all of these things, but still they just, left it at, you know,
Yeah, that's
weapons misconduct.
weapons misconduct. That's that sucks. Like
Yeah.
when I heard about this initially, I was like, well, that's weird. We definitely have to have a conversation about this. Not because LU is the only university who's ever done anything like this, because Liberty has been known to be, Christian, much more conservative university.
Mhm.
Most of the presidents who have come and visited were, Republicans. When people associate republicanism with conservatism,
Mhm.
with firearms and a love for firearms and the knowledge and education and
Mhm.
safety, so you would think that they would, just connecting some of these little dots, like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, me, they'll be good about guns and they'll make sure that people are being treated fairly. But no, it's like they were this close from kicking you out of school. Like if you had been
Yeah.
even just a little bit less maybe polite about the situation, I'm not going to bring race into
Mhm.
this, but if you were black, oh my god, oh my god,
Yeah.
you would have been
No,
done,
there
cooked,
and that was
toast.
the thing. It was like I tried to have such a positive attitude about it. I am a very like respectful person, and obviously I was trying to work like, in a career alongside these people. And so like you said, for the initial questioning, I was caught very off guard. I didn't think any of my videos were bad. And so when I, gave them the rights to look at all of my stuff, I didn't expect them to really find anything. And so then I get called in and I'm walking in there thinking they're going to offer me a job or something. And then they're like, so we found some things that were very concerning. And I was like, oh, like very taken back. And then, like I said, I was not prepared at all. Um, for that kind of conversation and that kind of questioning. Um, and so, yeah, the whole thing, I'm very glad it's behind me, but it's, I will once I'm in my senior year, I have to see if I can get it like removed from my record because I don't want to go into my career field with, this negative, especially again, weapons related, when my degree is in criminal psychology. So I want to work, whether that's, I'm not exactly sure what that'll look like yet, but I'm like,
Yeah,
this
that sounds
is
like because
not
if
going to
you're
look
saying
good.
that you're going to criminal psychology, maybe one day you might want
Hmm.
to work for the FBI as a what was the Blacklist about? What was that main? You've watched the Blacklist, I know you have. No, you haven't.
I
You're too
actually
young.
haven't.
You're too young.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, it was a great series. At least for the first like 7 seasons. There's like 35 seasons now. I don't know, maybe like 9. Anyways, and
Hmm.
it starts out. Let me just give you a quick synopsis. Criminal psychologist is first day on the job, and then things start going haywire because this mysterious man, who is a career criminal, like criminal mastermind, like people contacts all over the world, moving heavy drugs, moving light drugs, has a cleaner, the type of person to come in, clean up the scene after he's done shot
Mhm.
16 people. Like he's a serious criminal. Comes into her life and is like, hey, I'm only going to talk to you. Why me? Why me? And
Mhm.
throughout the series is speculation, like, is this her dad? Why is this person so attached to her? Like, what's going on? And I like the series a lot. We haven't watched it in a while, just because you get 7 seasons into a thing and then you just kind of fall off. So
Yeah.
that said, and you want to go, if you wanted to work for a prestigious agency like the FBI or
Mhm.
even like a police um,
Yeah.
department, they're going to do a background check. They're going to actually look into stuff. It's not like, I
Mhm.
want to go work for a call center. They're going to look into
Yeah.
stuff. And
Mhm.
if they see, oh, yeah, she's got some black marks on her history, like,
Yeah.
university could be taking money at your plate. Like, this is a big deal.
Mhm. Yeah, and so when they told me that, I was like, I wasn't prepared for any of that to be like something that would affect me long term. And so luckily I should be able to get it taken off, especially because I did everything I was supposed to do. Um, and again, I've been very respectful and kind to them, even when I did not want to be. Um, so
I'd say the
yeah,
power of
hopefully it,
friendship, but it's really just the power of being nice to people, even when they're kind of awful to you and
hmm
accusing you of things that
yeah.
you didn't do. Like,
hmm
and like, I'm sure someone's going to listen to this and be like, well, you know, because people who aren't in the firearms world, that none of this really makes sense to them. Like, they
Yeah.
hear, oh, you
And
got
that
in trouble
was,
for having a gun on campus. Well, what'd you do? You know,
yeah,
did you have people who, like, clearly just didn't understand, like people that you talked to, maybe your parents? I don't know. I don't know what you people are like, but
I was very blessed to have like both my family and like my fiance's family. Everybody was very like supportive and because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was very like very discouraged by things. I didn't want anybody to know about it because I felt like maybe I am a criminal, maybe I am, in the wrong
wow.
here. And but then, I had plenty of people around me like reassuring, like, no, like it's dumb. Like all of it's just so dumb. Um, because again, like I said, everyone, knew about the account on my haul. Nobody was concerned. Nobody was scared for their life. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like I did everything right. Um, for the most part. And again, I personally would argue that technically the gun never left my person. It was just in my hand.
It never left your
So,
person.
because that's what they
Like,
tried to, yeah,
like,
yeah.
at what point did you
So,
lose possession of the firearm? Any, like, actual, like, legal definition of possession, and or even in the NFL, like, I don't know how much football you've watched in your lifetime, but people
yes.
have debated whether or not,
hmm
okay, this was a catch, this was not a catch. You had possession of the football, you lost possession of the football. You did a football move. At
hmm
what point did the gun leave your presence? Did you throw it out the window? Like, come on, dude. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
dumb here, okay?
hmm
Well, maybe they
Yep.
are,
And it,
but
yeah.
mm.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. And again, finger was never on the trigger, never near it, like nothing like that. And they did point that out. They were like, we are very impressed that your finger was never once on the trigger. And I was like, that's basic firearm safety, but thank you.
Yeah,
Um, and so, yeah, there's, like I
sucks.
said,
Hey, I do want to shift gears a little bit because we have probably about 15 minutes until I want to switch over to the Q&A, and then over to a members only live stream that we have in Locals. Locals is my basically platform where I put all my bonus content, stuff like that. So anybody who wants to hear the very tail end of this conversation, last 10 minutes or so, where we talk about the good stuff. Only the best stuff gets to be put on Locals. Maybe we'll go through my gun collection and we can just talk about that kind of stuff, because we actually can't show that here. And then you can
hmm
talk about, you know, more gun stuff. That said, concealed by sky. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, you can see you have a little I forgot, a sign, a backlit sign, concealed by
yeah, a
sky.
little light
Let me
box
just,
thing.
yeah, I think it's super cool. And then on the wall next to you, you have this cool what's his essay? Can you read that for me?
Oh, yeah, it's a bag from Armed and Style. It says proud member of the Armed and Style Gun Girl Club.
Hey,
And then
heck
on the
yeah,
bottom
Tessa's
it says,
awesome.
yeah, no, I love them. I have so much of their stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, and
yeah,
then on the bottom it says I'm worth defending, and I love
heck
that.
yeah. Oh, how
So,
sweet. So let's talk about the journey because we spent 50 minutes
mhm.
ragging on LU for being incompetent, and LU just can't stay out the news if it's not
Yes.
Jerry doing something crazy. Formerly
Yeah.
Jerry. Oh, jeez, Jerry,
Hmm.
come on,
Yep.
Jerry, Jerry. Anyways,
I know.
um, let's talk about why you even thought it was a good idea to start an Instagram account talking about guns. Like, what was your motivation? Like, hey, I see a lot of people out here getting free guns. I want a free gun. All I have to do is, make a few videos, put on a ballroom dress, and show how I draw. Like, they'll send me some stuff. Like, was
Yeah.
that the
I
motivation? Have you got
mean,
anything for free? Like, let's talk about that.
I I have gotten a couple things for free. Not a free gun
Sick.
yet. I'm
Not yet.
I wish. Yet. We'll get there eventually. No, but when I first started concealed carrying, I like going into it, I really just thought I was gonna have to wear jeans and a t-shirt. Like I was gonna have to dress like a boy, like the baggy t-shirt, you know, the typical. And but then the more I got into it and the more I started getting more comfortable, I realized like I don't have to sacrifice my personal style um, just to be able to conceal carry. And so I followed like quite a few accounts that were women promoting concealed carry and stuff like that. But I just like couldn't find like the younger crowd, if that makes sense.
So,
So
like the
people
Gen
with,
Zs, or what are you talking about? Because I know
yeah,
there's some ladies who
like the
are.
college kids.
Yeah, I know there's some ladies who are in their 30s and 40s, and
Hmm.
even higher than that, like 50s and like pushing 60, who are
Yeah.
in the firearm space, and that's awesome. But I don't see a
Yeah.
ton of like, hey, I was born after 9/11. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
when were you born? Were
Exactly.
you
And
post, pre? At this point, I think
yeah,
you were after.
uh, O2.
Oof, wow. So you can't
Yeah.
answer the question. Where were you on 9/11?
No.
An idea.
Well, my mom was pregnant with me, so I
Wow,
was
where was
kind of
she?
here.
Right?
Right?
you got to ask
Yeah,
her.
so
Hey, mom, where were you on 9/11? So I can answer this question.
yeah.
Anyways,
Um
dark humor.
so no. So yeah, I had reached out um to um Casual and Tactical was like my favorite page that I followed. I read her book for like the intro to concealed carry, and like she really like helped me kind of get into like the different ways to carry, if that makes sense. Um, because everyone is so different, and I feel like a lot of times people just say like, "This is what works for me, so it's gonna work for you." And like women, we're just built different. So like for what's comfortable for me is not typically comfortable for somebody a different size and stuff like that. So I reached out to her and I was like, "Hey," as I was kind of getting into figuring out
I'm sorry.
more
Who did you say you
styles and
contacted?
um my brain is blanking on her actual name, but her account is Casual and Tactical.
Casual. Oh,
Yes,
let me pull her up because I know who you're
yes,
talking about.
yes. I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I had this idea for an account that's more outfits based, so more like fashion
Oh
and
yeah, I love
guns.
Casual and Tactical. I can't remember her name, but
Yes. And so I just reached out to her and I was like, with this idea, and she was like, I love that. Like, you definitely should. And then I got into more like details, like, should I create a whole separate account from my personal and like just start completely fresh with nothing, with no followers, or build off of what I already had. And she was very encouraging and told me to just go for it. Like, because I feel like sometimes in different spaces there can be like that sense of like, ooh, competition, but like I didn't have that issue at all. Like it was very welcoming. Like
Yeah,
they were like,
it's
yes,
true. It's
we need
true.
more like women in this space.
I've
And she
I've
was
I've only
very,
seen support for ladies amongst ladies, and I'm sure there's like some like
mhm,
people who are insecure that maybe that's not the
mhm,
case. But people, I know the ladies in this space who are actually doing a good job. Like they're nothing but
mhm,
supportive of each other, and even most of the guys that I've run into are nothing but supportive
mhm.
of each other. And we just want to grow and help each other to get this stuff. So that's awesome. I'm actually gonna put her stuff on the screen in just a second while you're talking. So she was
Yes.
supportive.
Yes. She's like I said, the one who told me to go for it and like just, see what happens basically. And so she was one of my first followers. She has a very large account, so that was very, and she's reposted my stuff quite a few times. It helped me kind of grow, um, which again was just so cool. And so yeah, once I kind of got the account started, I did not expect it to be anything crazy. Because another reason I kind of started it was I had so many like friends and family and friends of friends reaching out to me like asking, "Hey, I hear you got into concealing, like give me tips, give me information. Like, how did you do it? Like, how do you wear an outfit like this? Or how do you, dress for this occasion? Um, and like these kinds of things. So it's like, if I can just make a place where I can just put all of that out there in one and just direct people there instead of answering all these individual questions. So I really just thought I would have like maybe 100 followers just with like friends and family. And then, it really just kind of took off. Um, I mean, I don't have crazy numbers yet, but um, to be over 2,000 followers is insane. Um, just because I don't do anything other than really post reels or, use the trending audio. I've had a couple reels get like 15K views and stuff like that, but
Yeah. No, I love your progress. How long have you been posting? Can you just give me like a timeline?
um, I want to say about 2 years, almost 2 years.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, here's the
So,
thing. I think personally, and this is just me kind of giving you some of the information that I have. I think you're doing great considering that there's a lot of other people out there doing this content, yeah. And there's some people who are growing
hmm,
a little bit faster. If your name's like Nina De La Flores, shout out to her and her
yeah.
amazing
Hmm.
success. But on the other side, Instagram is doing their darndest to make sure that your content is seen by nobody, like nobody
Yep.
and their mama. So, hey, like if you
Yeah.
got, 10,000, if you have 2,000, if you have 999, I think you're doing a great job, especially because you're being consistent
Yep.
and those people who need to see it are seeing it. And of course, as you continue to
Hmm.
grow, more people will see it. My only critique is like get on YouTube because YouTube doesn't hate you as much as
Yeah.
Instagram does, and you could pretty much just use the same content. Like you can.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'm a big fan of long form content, podcasts, reviews, anything that you would see on youtube.com/armed atlas, my personal YouTube channel for guns. Um, I recommend it, but um, get on YouTube because you'll grow way faster and you actually reach way more
Yeah.
people. And I think that's the important thing, right? So,
Hmm.
but you said 2 years into it, you've gained 2,000 followers. You thought maybe you'd get 100 followers. You just kind of having the information out there so people would stop asking you questions. You just reference the video, right?
Hmm.
How have you got many comments? Have you have gotten many DMs, you know, thanking you or even saying like, hey, listen, I tried this. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't, my body type's different than yours. Like what are some of
Yeah.
the direct messages that you get?
So definitely like all kinds. So one of the things that I always tell people when giving advice is this is what I do. Figure out what works for you because I know what works for me isn't going to work for everybody. And so I can give advice, but also like I like to leave people with the, try different things, different placements as far as like carrying positions and stuff like that. Um, because like I know my mom concealed carries and she is left-handed, so it's a whole different. placement and stuff like that. And, um, and again, like different guns, sizes and different things like that. So there's like so many different things that go into it. So I'm like, don't just take what I say or somebody else says and just act like it's good. Like that's not practical. And I've also gotten a lot of hate messages. A lot of people say, I carry cross draw a lot of times, and some people hate that. And I was like very surprised actually by how much people hate that. Um, and I just tell them
Yeah,
like, hey, you know
I hate
what?
it too,
It,
but it's okay.
I know some people do, but it works for me. It's way more comfortable. I feel like my draw is faster. I'm more efficient with it. And so one thing I always tell people is like, if you're practicing that way and you are accurate with your shots, then go for it. But yeah, like everyone has an opinion. Um, which is one of the things that I was warned before I started my account was to watch out for all of the negative negative people and also, you know, all the men who are going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Um,
Let's talk about this. Just for the record, those who are watching visually, you can see I pulled out Sky's Instagram page, and she's got a lot of great videos, over 100 posts, and there's links, there's nails, there's you know all sorts of stuff here, and some of the your pinned posts and stuff like that.
mhm,
Um, Obviously, if you go to the reels, because that's what mainly you do. I mean, if you're on Instagram, you got to do reels, and all sorts of cool
yeah.
outfits, and some skits. So if you like funny stuff, she's doing that too. But let's talk for a second about the guys. Come on, dudes, do better. Because
Yeah,
there's like
and
three types of guys. The guys who are very supportive. There's the silent guys, so like they don't exist. There's the guys who, because you're a female on the internet, it's like, you have ovaries, so like it just drives them nuts and just like, hey, unsolicited picture of things, you know?
mhm, yeah,
And
no, there's been plenty of people who've gotten blocked for all kinds of, commenting nonsense and, you know, messaging nonsense and all these kinds of things. There's people who want to argue with me, people who want to make inappropriate comments. Like, it's a little bit of everything, if I'm being honest.
yeah,
But there has been so many, they're not all bad. Not all of you men are bad. There's been quite
not
a
all of
few.
you men are bad.
Um,
You people are all right. Come on. What you mean by you people?
yeah, there are definitely more supportive people, than there are negative people, which has been really helpful because I have in my bio, as yeah, you just had it up. But I'm not an expert. I never claimed to be. I'm still learning. So there's a lot that don't fully understand and know yet. And I
Mhm.
recognize that. And I'm also like eager to learn. Um, so yeah, but there are times where I do know what I'm talking about. Like I had one guy message me and I was showing, I think it might have been my gun in a video. And they were like, 40, I have a Glock 43. And they were like, it's a 43X. And I said, no, I think I know what kind of gun I have. Like, they're trying to tell me it was a different gun model than what it actually is.
Yeah, these
And
people are these people are wild.
people, yeah, they wanted to argue with me about like stupid stuff like that. And I was like, no, first of all, I do
I'm
know
not
what I'm
sure what
talking
it
about
is. Like I'm not here to bag on men, because men make the world go around, and I think we should support each other as dudes and make sure it's not. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not trying to say women don't, because I have a wife, I have two girls, and I think they're just the world. They're my whole world outside of all the extra crap that I do, right? And but I think we got to support dudes. We got to help them, but we also have to hold them accountable when they're doing things that make us look bad. Like, hey, dude, you know,
Hmm.
and Raheem Kelly, solid man, guy who I definitely support and promote. If you follow him at Rock with the Glock, he's doing some cool
Hmm.
stuff. He said, rather it's or whether it's positive or negative, you are the topic. hey, that's
Yeah,
whether
it's
people
true.
love it or hate it, like you're doing the
They're
thing, you
still
know.
watching.
They're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
watching, still in your DMs, still leaving comments.
yeah.
It's engagement, baby. Let's
Yep.
go. Thank you for the engagement.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things too, like I know some people who like if they get a negative comment or somebody trying to argue with them, they just like block it and don't even deal with it. But
Some
like
people are like that. They can't handle it.
I'm like, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. Like I do know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Right.
And
Sometimes.
so yeah, sometimes I admit that. And it's also how like they come across. Like there's people who are like, hey, maybe you should, not do that, maybe do this as like constructive criticism, which I appreciate. But then there's, the guys who just are the know-it-alls and, carry a revolver or something like that. You know what I mean? Like those guys. And they
Yeah.
just think they know it all and they just come at you with like
Just a
so
little
rude
funny.
for no reason.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, no.
I notice that I get more people are a little bit more willing guys are a little bit more willing to leave me comments on YouTube. Maybe it's because I'm making very specific videos about specific things and they're asking questions and they're leaving their
Mhm.
responses and it's just kind of more dynamic in that way. But on Instagram I don't really get a ton of comments, and partially it's because Instagram has actively shadow banned me. They continue to tell me that they're shadow banning me. I've taken down all my content. I've done new stuff, and it's like you kiss the ring and it's not good enough for these
Yeah.
people. Have you
hmm
been shadow banned?
Um, there was, I think there was one time that like my views and everything just plummeted and I was like, what is going on?
Do you know how to
Um,
check to see if Instagram is limiting your
I
post?
I feel like I did figure it out one time, but like I
Yeah,
couldn't tell you how
it's
to do
kind of
it.
like buried in. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it's kind of like buried in the
No.
settings. And once I found it, I was just like, "What?" And so you have to like go into
hmm
settings and like go to like account status, and it's right there, and it's like, "Oh, 17 posts are violating your TOS, your terms of
Yeah.
service, and if I don't remove it or archive it or something like that, like you're just going to continue to make sure that people can't find me in search, like under the Armed Atlas
Yeah.
brand. Like if you type in armed armed underscore Atlas, which is my, firearms persona. It's pretty much just me,
hmm
guys. It's just with a gun.
Yeah.
So me, yeah. So it's me. Anyways,
hmm
and you would get names completely unrelated to Armed Atlas. You'd be like Edgar Perez,
hmm
and then at the very
Yeah.
bottom, Armed Atlas.
hmm
Thankfully, they
I
didn't say
did
like, please don't follow
one
him.
time. One time I think I did find that I was shadow banned because I was trying to pull my account up for somebody else on their phone and I was like, I'm putting in the right thing.
Yeah.
Why am I not coming up?
Some of the greatest ever have been shadow banned. Coleon Noir is one of the
Oh
goats in the
yeah.
firearm space. Shadow banned. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to
hmm
find a Coleon post. Can't find his account anywhere.
Yeah.
It's sickening. Oh, these people have too
hmm
much power.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Anyways, I know we're talking about that. We were kind of jumping around because we were just talking about how how guys are in the space, how girls are in the space. How has your
hmm
experience been working with the brands? So we got the fans, now we have the brands.
Yeah.
You've gotten some free stuff.
Um, I have gotten, yeah, a couple things. So I had I want to say it was more of like a range or like a business like that sent me two t-shirts and a hat. I think that was like my first like box, if you will, from somebody, and I was like blown away. I was so excited.
Right?
Um,
It's nice. It's special.
yeah,
Like, wow,
yeah,
people are really thinking about me. Thanks, guys.
I know. And I also had this lady send me two pairs of like bullet earrings. um, which like I wear all the time.
Do you remember who that's from, or off the top of your head?
I would have to pull it up again.
Fair.
But I'm pretty sure I have it linked somewhere. I'll have to double check on that. Um, but yeah, she sent me like a pair of earrings, and then I've gotten, some discounts, and stuff like that too, which has been really cool. Um, I haven't had too much luck like reaching out to brands to trying to work with them. Um,
So, moment of truth. What brands have you reached out to, and what did you expect?
so okay, so the like big one that I was trying to get like a discount code for my followers was the belt that I always use, the comfort
The
concealment belt.
comfort concealment, which is funny because they work with a
Yes.
lot of people.
Yeah, and I've messaged them multiple times and they were like, "Oh, we'll work on that for you." And then I never heard anything back. Um, and so I reached out through emails, through Instagram, um, two different times and haven't really gotten that figured out yet. But because that's one that everybody always asks, like, what's that belt that you use in all your
Mm-hmm.
videos? Like, um, so, and it, like I said, it'd be nice to
Hit
have
me
something I
up.
could,
Hit me up after this. I may have somebody that you can talk to about that because sometimes you have to know somebody who knows somebody, and I'm the third somebody on
gotcha.
that list. So hit me up
Okay.
afterwards, and I'll see if we can't get you in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of push that through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they should be sending you belts at this point. Like it's not like you have no followers. I understand. Like
And they take my videos too, is the other thing. Like,
they've reposted
I'm
you.
on, yes, multiple
Oh,
times,
then they
but they
should be
like,
giving your people a discount. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
like you should be getting affiliate, like kickbacks and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Come on, comfort
Yeah.
concealment called out. Come on, guys. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. These
Because they
brands are so
just,
funny.
I know. And, but yeah, I think, that's one thing I'm trying to get like into a little bit more now that I've got a decent following, is working more with the
It's something.
brands.
It's something.
Yeah, I'm working on currently branding myself. So I've got
What you
that in
mean,
the
homie?
works.
What's that?
Like
What's that look like?
some stickers, maybe some like a logo. Like I don't know. Like I said, I'm working on it.
Who's your graphic
So
designer?
a friend of mine.
Okay, about to say
So
I know somebody if you needed it, needed to
yeah,
connect. But it sounds like you actually are working on that. We would love to see the stickers. When you get the stickers done,
yes.
hit me up. We'll do a Thursday night live stream because every once in a while we do like a live hangout and we broadcast
Hmm.
here. We broadcast on YouTube and Instagram. For those who are listening on audio, make sure you follow me on YouTube so you see when we do the live hangouts because those
Hmm.
aren't always like podcasts, right? And come back on
Yeah,
and like we'll just promote that a little bit and hopefully we can get a clip you can repost and it'll be cool
yeah.
because I want you to succeed. Like I want
Hmm.
almost all my guests to succeed. Some of them are a little crazy and you're just like, ooh, that
Yeah.
is wild.
Yeah,
But
it
so
happens.
you're
It
branding
happens.
yourself because at the end of the day, you make the most margin on things that you sell for you, you know, and then your name
Hmm.
can be out there and people can celebrate with you what you're building. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
What you said,
Yeah.
comfort concealment. Who else have you tried to work with, or who would be an ideal
Um,
like brand, whether it's firearms gear, um, product?
yeah, I'm trying to think. I know there's a few. I mean, like dream would be like I'm a Glock girl. So if I could
Oh
get
wow,
something, yeah, yeah.
that's that's reaching for the stars. Glock don't work with people,
I
but
know, I know.
but
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 I'm
why not
saying
you?
dream.
Why not you? That's the thing. Like I
I
say that,
mean,
and then I'm just like, why the heck not you? Why would you not
yeah,
be somebody that they would want to work with, especially as you continue to progress the brand and make sure
yeah,
that you're educating women. I think if you become a competition shooter, there's
yeah.
even more chance of that because they do have a
There
team.
is.
So,
Yeah. And I had honestly, I had thought about trying to get into that kind of stuff, but I just
mhm.
don't have the time for it right now. Being that I'm in school and working and all
And
the
it
fun
costs a
stuff.
lot. It costs a
So
whole lot. So if
it
you're
does. Yeah.
what I assume kind of broke college kids, we should support you
Hmm.
first of all. So make
Yeah.
sure you guys use those freaking links in her bio, even if you're a dude and
Yeah.
you don't even buy, that kind of stuff. Use the Amazon link. Just click the link and then go
Yeah.
buy your groceries or whatever it is from Amazon because there's actually like a multi-way kickback where if as long as you've clicked into the link like within 24 hours, she gets credit and like 2% off anything else you buy. So just make sure you do that. Support
Yeah.
the homies.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I
um,
said, I'm just now like starting to get into more of like working with people and figuring out
Right.
how like to reach out and like all these kinds of things.
It's a
Um,
beast, bro. Like I'm telling you, as somebody who's been
it
doing this for
is.
not much longer than you, but I've been a little bit
Hmm.
more connected, being that people have invited me
Yeah.
out to events, and I've been able to go in
Hmm.
person and meet the marketing manager, meet the owner of this company, name a company.
Yeah.
I've probably met him, and it sounds like I'm flexing. I'm not, because as many people as I meet, I'm not drowning in product, and I'm not a rich man
Yeah.
yet. Like,
Hmm.
okay, like it doesn't
Yeah.
mean much, but those conversations have to happen at some point.
Hmm. Yeah. And I was able, it's been it's been just over a year now, but I did get the chance to speak at like a women's event that T4 Tactics here in Lynchburg put
Heck
on.
yeah, that's awesome. Did you document
So
it? Is
I
it on your
was
page?
I don't think so. I think I mentioned it on my page.
Tell
But
me you
I
took
was
some
more just
pictures.
like, huh?
Tell me you took some pictures.
I was speaking. I didn't take pictures.
So here's what I want you to do, Sky. I'm going to talk to you like I care about your well being and your future in this thing. Anywhere you go, tell your boyfriend, fiance, excuse me, to bring his happy butt and his camera phone and take pictures and a
Hmm.
few videos so you can post it on the page, because it's one thing to post a video in your dorm room or in your house or wherever you
Yeah.
are. It's another thing to be in front of the
Hmm.
people and actually
Yeah.
touch these people and see them face to face,
Hmm.
and to be able to say like, hey, listen, like this is how we do it for real. I'm a human being, you're a human being.
Yeah.
And so brands respect it, and other also people respect it. They see like, oh,
Hmm.
she's a real person, she's not just some weirdo who
Yeah.
likes guns,
Yeah.
which is also
Yeah.
the case.
I'm actually like between probably not this school year, but maybe next school year, because now I have gained a lot of followers who are in the area that I'm in for
Oh, that's
school.
awesome.
I kind of want to put on my own events eventually. So that's
Heck
another thing that
yeah.
I'm like trying to, just brainstorm, get ideas about. Because again, like I said, I have so many people reach out to me and they're like, I have questions. What products work best? What, you know, are the options and all these different things. So,
You should look
um,
into Empower 2A. It's like a Gun Owners of America thing for women. They
mhm.
actually have an event
I
coming
think
up
I've heard of
in
it.
Dallas. Yeah, Antonia Okafor, who actually used to work at LU, funny. She founded it and then I guess sold it to Gun Owners of America. She still runs it, but they're putting
Hmm.
on an event in like 2 weeks here in Texas. Actually, over in like the Dallas area. I'm not going to get a chance to go because I'm not a lady, but um, sometimes they'll partner with local gals in the gun space, and if they put on an event or host something, they'll invite them to come
Hmm.
speak and share. And I think that could be something that even if you don't speak at the first one you go to, you can at least go and like get
Yeah.
to know the people involved. Because specifically with Gun Owners of America and different advocacy groups, I think they're doing a great job of making sure that both the people are educated and the politicians are educated. Because as you know,
Yeah.
not everybody who claims to know things and has positions of power, not all of them are competent or excellent in any way. Sometimes you have to educate them. So
Hmm.
that's the thing. So, listen,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we respect your time. I know, with these things, I said, give me 2 hours, and even if you don't read the thing, I expect my 2 hours. Um,
Yeah.
but I want to respect your time. That said, um, let's make sure, because we're actually going to transition over to the locals feed, talk about some guns. I'm going to pull some guns out for you to kind of take a look at. So, guys, if you look at the pinned comment in the live stream, armedatlas.com, sorry, armedatlas.locals.com will take you to the members live stream. You can watch it even if you're not a member, but I would encourage you, $5 to support your boy. Do that. Um, and here's the last thing I want you guys to do. Join us over there because we're going to talk about some gun stuff. Sky, is there anything that you just like, shoot, if I don't say this on this podcast, I'm gonna be kicking myself for a week. Anyway, and if you don't have anything, just share how people can find you.
Yeah. So I would just say just follow the Instagram Concealed by Sky. Um, I have a YouTube, but I have not done anything with it, so be on the lookout for that. Pretty sure there's links in my bio on Instagram, so yeah, check it out.
You said that's Concealed by Sky. I'll go ahead and just post the link for your IG right now in the live stream. And somebody will have to remind me, but I'll try to update your description. And actually, I'll just do that right now as we're transitioning. I'll make sure that people can find you a little bit easier because I think you're doing something really cool, especially being in a different demographic. Obviously, we have
Hmm.
our ladies who are, pushing 30, pushing 40, what do all the
Yeah.
dude bros say about to hit the wall? Like just all sorts of disgustingness. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Would you
Yeah.
talk about your mama like that?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's that's me. That's me cracking my one misogynistic joke of the evening, or I guess we're on number 3 now. So here we go. Let's go ahead, crack over to locals, show you some guns, hear your thoughts, and of course, we can kind of wrap this thing up. Guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, wherever you are. If you see that link on the screen, go ahead and screenshot it and pull up your QR code reader. And you'll be able to link over to armedatlas.com or youtube.com/armedatlas to watch my firearms content. If you like guns and stuff, if you're watching this and you don't like guns, I'm concerned. What are you doing here? Love you anyways, but what are you doing? And of course, links are all over the place for jumping over to locals to see exclusive videos, stuff that's not on YouTube yet or ever. Some stuff will never be on YouTube, it's only there. And you actually, a lot of that content you don't have to be a member for. Like, you don't have to be a paid member. A lot of it you just watch because I want you to enjoy it. That's how it is. But guys, we'll see you next week. We do have a cool show with somebody who is next week's show. We're going to be talking with a guy who's in the media space. He's like a video producer, and he's been documenting the lives of some of the most impactful gun tubers in the space. So let's make sure we tune in for that. And until next time, keep it costly.